Welcome to another fountain pen day review. Today's review will be a little different. I'm going to show you how to make a notebook. I've seen other ones out there, videos how to make these. This one was just a trial that I did with plain computer paper. Just wanted to see how it worked out. It was done with dental floss. I did 1-inch spacing in the stitching on this one. It was quick, it was easy, and I went out of Tomoe River paper. These typically are put inside the Midori Traveler's notebooks, the leather covers. A lot of people are making those. It's one of my next projects. So, you can cut these down and make them to any size that you want. You just have to pre-cut the paper. But this one, with the help of T.M. Lee, got some advice from him. I changed the stitching down to a 1/2-inch spacing, and it came out. I used really small stitching, I want to say, compared to the other one, because it will hold in better. This paper is so much more, supple and easier to tear. That T.M. Lee said that something like the original one that I did, that it could easily be pulled from here. This one I've had for about a week. I've just doodled on the other side of it, and it worked out really well. So, if you're interested, keep watching. If you're not, time to tune out. What you're going to need to do this simple project, obviously, is paper. I have a pad that I got at the Tomoe River. This is a B6 paper, so when I fold it in half, you're going to end up with a B5 notebook. Again, you can cut these down to whatever size you want, but you need to cut the pages down before you continue. That'll be one thing you need. An old notebook works great as well. I'll get this down in a second, but a blunt needle, sewing needle, standard, you can get them anywhere. Again, it's blunt on the end so you don't stab yourself to death. Scissors help. A small ruler, I just use this when I'm measuring out the holes. This cover, this is just regular construction paper. I'll use that to cut the cover. Bone folder, so you can get a nice good crease on the paper itself. Sorry, but a pencil does work really well for this to mark the holes. Dental floss, I hope everyone has some in the house. And not the right tool. Usually people use an awl, but this is a really thin file that I had for other projects, and the tip of it, I use it to pop through to make the holes. It actually works pretty good, so you use what you have around the house. Again, this project isn't all about making sure you have amazing tools. This I happen to have. It's just a regular cutter. I'm only going to use it for a second, and that's just to cut the cover itself, because the pages are going to get folded in half. You'll see this video is going to cut in and out. I'm not going to inundate you with a ton of details of watching me fold 17 pages of paper. So hopefully it'll be a little easier. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut this sheet to match the size of one Tomoe River sheet. To peel one out. And again, I'm going to cut away, but you're just going to measure the sheet onto here, mark it, and then run it through this. You can use scissors too. It's not going to be a straight line. You could use a regular cutter if you have one of those. You use them at work. If you have one of these and you have a metal ruler or even a plastic ruler and you can cut fairly easy, you can cut right through it. Whatever works for you. Okay, I'm going to cut this and we'll be right back. Okay, so I cut the paper. It's a very simple process. Nothing that needs to be gone in detail. You will see that I have left, if I corner this, some space here. How much did I leave? Maybe an 1/8 of an inch and maybe a 1/16 of an inch on the top. The reason for that is just so that it overlaps just a little bit, so that I'll set the paper like this, and when I find the dead center, I'll have that much left on either side. The reason I leave a little bit on either side when you're done, because when the papers fold over, they are going to continually reach. The middle sheet's going to stick out more than all the others because they're continually folding over each other. So on the Tomoe River, it's very less pronounced. But you can see from here, you see how there's a peak in the middle? Right here, it sticks out. This one, I overdid this one, so I did it a little less this time, but there is a peak here. Now you can cut that later on, which I did do with the computer paper one, because it was really pronounced. And it came out alright. I mean, cutting it with what I have, it wasn't the smoothest thing, but it did come out great. I mean, it was really easy and fast to do. I don't think I'll ever use this for anything but scrap, because it's rummy computer paper. Okay, so that's the reason we left just a little bit on either side. If it really bothers you in the end and you want it to be perfect, you can always trim it later. Okay. So in the next part of this project, you can fold the cover, and again, you're just folding corner to corner, like so. And this is what the bone folder is for, so that you can get a good crease. And before you give that crease, you want to make sure that the corners line up. I always, so these corners line up, and then I'll give it a little crease here, meaning more pressure here and across. So you here. Oh, I said here 4 times. Sorry. And then you use your bone folder, and you're just going to come straight across. Give it a nice crease on both sides. Really easy, really simple. The next thing you're going to do. This one I'm going to do 17 pages of the Tomoe River paper. So I'll end up with 34 sheets on the inside because they're doubling over. Or 34 pages, sorry. Or 68 if you use front to back, which you can do. And again, you're just wanting to make sure, especially with this paper, because it's going to be a fine crease, that you get those corners, you know, as close as possible. You know, if you're a perfectionist, no problem. Take a little more time. Again, we're going to take a break. I'm going to do all the rest of the pages, come back when they're done, and I'll show you how to mark them. But here's one that is done. Again, bone folder. Across, across. I mean, this is just simple artsy stuff, but it's easy to do. And again, the end result is terrific. Okay, so I'm going to make 16 more of these, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. I have folded the 17 sheets in half, so they now flow together. All I did was fold them in half, put them inside each other. Simple concept, huh? Alright, this will show you what I mean. Once they're folded, because there's more here, you can see the way it comes to a point like that. The outer sheet is shorter and the rest of them become longer. And you can trim that. It's not going to matter that much. Not to me, at least. Not anymore. I made a mess out of the last one. So, but it can be trimmed. It's not that difficult to do. This will go inside the cover, so. And tap it down. Now this one, it looks like, at first I thought it was a little bit short, because you can see them sticking out. But once it's stitched in, it's going to tighten it in, and tighten it back a little bit. You can put the bone folder in and kind of push it down into how it will be, and then close it. You'll see it fits just about. I mean, it's the tiniest smidge right here across. It'll come out, but it should tighten up in the end. You can see how the sizes are. Measured it fairly accurately. You know, and these are things, again, if it sticks out too much here, you can always adjust it. If you want to leave more on this so that you don't get that little edge if it bothers you. If you want more to stick out, because this is delicate paper, you can always leave this a little bit longer. Overall, fold it in half. Once it's fit in with all your sheets, you can always run back while it's folded in half if you have a straight edge like that, and cut straight down and just trim a little bit off so that it does have a nice solid fit. Alright, the next part, we're going to mark the holes for the stitching. The easiest way I found is to take one sheet out. Again, when I talk about use what you have, I have a flexible, I think my mom uses it for sewing. It's what I have to measure, so you know what, it's fine. This measures at just about 7 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to move it in, or 7 1/8, I'm sorry, so I'll move it into 7 1/16 so that the dead center is going to be 3 1/2. So I know right here is dead center. And just make a small mark. I can find it later. I'm going to punch a hole there. And then I'm going to mark every 1/2 of an inch. And again, it's not all about perfection with this. It's going to work. It's going to look nice and neat. That dental floss is very thin, so you're really not going to see it. Now the last one, because it's so close to the edge, it measures out if I put it here. So I'm going to bring it in just a little bit. So the last stitching on the end is going to be, I'll do like 3/16 of an inch from the end. So it'll be a little bit closer. But again, it's not going to matter. You're just not gonna notice those things. You know, and then once you do this once, you'll say, "Oh, I get it. All right, it's all relevant." And part of doing this project, and I thought about this. Not only does it get you out of a bind if you happen to run out of journals, but the cost factor. I mean, it's not all about the money. Sometimes it doesn't matter. I know we just order stuff to order it, but that pad. Like this pad from the Miki paper that I got, I did a review on it. There's 100 sheets in here, and it was $10. So think of this: I only used 14 sheets here, but say I used 20. That means I can make 5 of these journals with 20 sheets in each, or 40 pages, 80 pages back, front and back. 5 of them with Tomoe River paper for $10, or we'll add $1 for the for these covers. I mean, so in that respect, if you look at it that way, really, it's really a good way to stretch the budget should you need to, and want to have really nice paper. The other thing with this project, you can use any paper that you want. If you have a favorite paper, if you want to use Clairefontaine, use Clairefontaine. If you want grid paper, then use grid paper. It's up to you. The other thing you can do is if you have plain sheets, you can go online and you can get a lot of patterns. If you want French rule, things like that, and print your own paper. So this part, you're just lining it up. You want to make sure everything's nice and square, and you're going to use the phone book. Set this in here, and I use these bone folders just to push it down a little bit, just so it's stable. Making sure that your pages are even, and your notebook is even. And find what you need, which would be an all to do this, but again, I'm using what I have, which is a small file. So you're going to do what I do. I always double check the measurements and make sure. Yeah. I had a feeling while I was talking, I missed a mark right here. Okay. So line it up, and once you punch the first hole, it will hold itself without scooching around on you pretty well. So I'm going to find the first one, and this is a little thicker than the last one. So what happens is, because you've got the phone book underneath, it's like a hollow background, meaning you can hear it punch through, but it's just going into the phone book, but it's going all the way through. And you're going to do this for each one of these. And again, I'm not going to bore you with this, but this is what you're going to do all the way through on all these holes. And when I come back, because again, I'm not going to sit here and make this an hour video. It doesn't take an hour. If I just sat here and did this process, I could do one of these in 20 minutes, no problem. But when I come back, I'll show you how to stitch it, how to start the stitching. It goes really, really quickly from here on out, and everything tightens up really nice. And you can see these holes. I mean, they look like there's a little fray here and there, but that stitching will tighten it all up. So we'll be right back. We're back. Very quick process. Again, all I did was just punch the holes all the way through. You heard how it popped. And again, having an old phone book that most of us have been throwing away for forever does come in handy. That's all really you need it for. You can use any old book that you want. So now, for the stitching, dental floss works great. It's always around the house, and it's dirt cheap. How much? Usually I go 4 times, 3 times, but I started going 4 times the last couple, or the last one that I did, just so I had enough, because it was close to the first one. But I'll go 4 times this amount, and I just measure it out. 1, 2, 3. I mean, it's dental floss, so if it's too much, who cares? And then you can pull it right there. The next thing you're going to do is thread the blunt needle. And by having flat dental floss, makes it that much easier to thread through here. Did I actually get it? No. Okay. Trust me, I wouldn't stand here and waste your time doing this. Alright, this is the only thing really you have to remember, because the rest of it from here on out is pretty basic. You're going to go straight down from here and pull through. So second hole down. Sorry, first hole down. Pull through, leave some behind. And you can see it shifted a little, but I've already got the first one done. This is good. See? It's not perfect. This part is it's a little shaky, and then you're going to flip it over, find the other hole, and go through, and it'll pop right out. And you're going to go all the way down the line, up and down, and you'll see, it'll tighten up as you go along. Back through. And being that it's dental floss, like see I got it snagged in here, but it'll slide right through. And I'm going to come back in a second and I'll show you what happens when I get to the very end. But this is all you're doing, is you're going in and out all the way through. When you get to the bottom, 2.5 minutes on this. Let's see, maybe I can run right through this. You can see how quickly this is going. Find the hole. Again, just recrease it if the hole gets out of alignment. Like it's loose up here, but once I tug here, you can tighten it right back up, and you can pull up here for the tension. It's not something you have to worry about as you're doing this the whole time. That you can worry about a little bit. Unthreading the needle. But you're going to go all the way down. All the way down. When you get to the end, you're going to come back out, and then you're going to reverse it, and you'll see, once you come back up and down, you're going to fill in these gaps right here. I'll be right back once I get towards the top. Alright, I'm towards the bottom. I figure I'll start here so that you get the concept. Where this last one goes down. Alright, stop. Low battery warning. Okay, so the last stitch you saw went down. The next one goes up through the same hole, and you see when you reverse it, it's going to fill in where there was no stitch before. And now that the holes are already been gone through once, it's easy to find. The book has become stable now, so it's much quicker. And you can see this is not some incredibly finesse project. I mean, it's just straightforward, and that's why I said I really wanted to show everybody how to do this. You know, and being with Tomoe River paper that is a little more delicate, the only difference really is the stitching being a 1/2 inch apart. When you get to the end, and you're just going to simply knot it to that last thread. You'll give it a pull to make sure that it tightens everything up. If you let the end get too long, like I just did, you want to make sure you pop it through before it gets embedded in there. See this extra piece I had folded over. Anyways, okay, we're going to finish this up, and we're pretty much done with our notebook. Through the back side. And now I lost the needle just at the right time. And there you are. You've now got the two ends. You're simply going to want to tie them off. I usually pull it down. When you do this, you'll understand better. But I pull it down so that it's here instead of up top. So you've got that right there. You need to hold that knot tight. This is the only part that I ever had a problem with, because it's just all about dexterity with this stuff. You can use anything you want for the thread. I mean, it doesn't have to be dental floss, but dental floss happens to be really strong, usually in the house. But I mean, you can use colored strings, you can use anything. But by keeping the pressure, look, you just get that knot right there, and that's it. You know, I'll knot it a couple of times just to make sure it stays situated, because this is waxed. I always have a fear that it'll come undone once I cut it, and it'll cut it too short, and you know, the whole thing will come apart. Everyone's saying, alright, just get done. But that's pretty much it. Now you need your scissors, finally. This is the only thing you need them for. Once you catch these. And I'm not going to snip it too close, I'll leave a little extra. That is it. That is all there is to it. You give it a crease and you're done. And you can see by the back edge, it's nice, it's neat. Even though I wasn't, you saw how I did it, I was not overly cautious with this. There's enough room at the top from the hole where it won't tear. Same thing with the bottom. You know, you don't notice that this stitch is not exactly 1/4 of an inch, though the rest pretty much are. And you're done. You can now insert this into your leather cover, Midori, whatever it is, and make it the size that you want. We've got 34 pages of Tomoe River paper, or 68 front to back, and you can see it. Nice, quick, easy, cheap. All in all, it was $2. It wasn't even $2 worth of Tomoe River paper, but yet I've got a really nice notebook. You know, looks like, look at like a field note. That's it. Quick, done. If you want a real notebook, here's something like T.M. Lee, who gave me the advice, made for Fountain Pen Day. This is what a real journal looks like. And you can see he's taken all his bindings, put them together. Really nice. I have a video on this too, but I like showing this off. But this is how a real notebook is supposed to look. Beautiful. So thanks T.M. Lee for helping me. And again, I hope this helps a lot of people. Again, really the only difference here is that I used 1/2 inch stitching so that this softer paper won't, you know, fall and tear out. I mean, it's in there, it's tight, it's not going to shred out this way, and it'll take a beating. So have a great day, and thanks again for watching. I hope this helped a lot of people out there, and certainly helped a lot of people understand how inexpensive and easy this can be, and you don't have to be Mr. Crafty or Mrs. Crafty to do this. Have a great Fountain Pen Day, November 1st this year, 2013.